All right. Good morning, everybody. We have got a great group. Hope that you're writing up your gratitudes. I'd love to see everybody write down one gratitude for the day. So it's going to be a great day. And man, if you can start off with a little bit of gratitude, all the better. So I've got some great things I want to share with you today. And the reason why I want to share them with you is, there's always been a commitment to helping people to become more. And I just want to pose a question, the very first question right out of the gate. And that is who do you have to become? Who do you have to become to earn, and you fill in the blank, to earn a certain amount of money? Who do you have to become to sell a certain number of homes? Or who do I have to become to help a certain number of families or individuals buy a home? So you start thinking about this and you start recognizing that most of what we do in our lives in this business is about working from the inside out. Now, there's no question that mindset, skills, and discipline are a key component to the success of every great leader, every great agent, every great team leader, every great individual, that they begin to shape a mindset, a belief system, an ability to communicate, the skills of communication, and then, of course, the personal discipline. So when you start thinking about looking around and wondering, man, I can't figure out why the business isn't working for me. Or you sit and look around and go, man, I wonder how come all the business is working for me. Ask yourself how you got to that point, because it's a critical component to the success and the long-term success of an individual. But it's also the question that when things are not on track, when things aren't being successful, that you take a step back and you say, okay, what got me to this point? What is it that got you to this point? So when you start really looking at what you can simply ask yourself, I have a deep belief that the majority of your success will come from the questions that you ask yourself, not even the answers that you get. I want to repeat that. Most of your success will come because of the questions that you ask yourself, not as much for the actual answers that you receive. So when you start thinking about, moving and directing and improving your life, recognize that so much of it has to do with you. It has to do with what's going on the inside. And I have a deep belief that success is an inside job. Success is an inside job. We work from the inside out. So with that being said, I want to share a story. I want to share a story with you. About 6 years ago, I had a handful of people in my office, and I had Gretchen Smoot, Sam Bell, and I had another gentleman by the name of Steve Forey, who's a dear mentor of mine and also was on our leadership team. And we were discussing this idea of expanding even into another state. We had this idea that we thought, man, it'd be great to be in California, which we were just about to pull the trigger on. And also, we're going to also try to make this play in California. Well, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that, first of all, we don't have operations in Arizona at this point, and I frankly have no intentions of doing so in the near future either. But that moment was a fun moment. We started discussing the possibilities, what it would look like, how we could do it, how we could pull it off, the opportunities of purchasing a business that was there. And so after that discussion, I'll never forget this, but I remember Gretchen Smoot, who, if you don't know, is our great CFO. And she's been by my side for nearly, this coming May, I believe it's 15 years. She's put up with all the craziness that I've put out there. But in the process of that, after Sam and Steve had stood up, she said, "Hey, can I just have one more moment with you?" And I said, "Well, sure. Yeah, you bet." So she let everybody leave, and as they walked out of the room, she sat down, and I still will never forget. But she put her hands like this, and she leaned forward on the desk, and she said, "Hey, I'm just curious." And I said, "Curious about what?" And she said, "I'm just curious when you're going to start dealing with your life versus going and creating more chaos." And I have to tell you, wow, when she said that to me, she said, "I'm just curious when you're going to actually deal with your life instead of go create more chaos." And I have to tell you, I remember sitting back in my chair. I remember leaning, I laughed out loud right when it happened when she said that. And I still remember saying to her, you know, that's a really good point. And it was at that moment I realized that although there were so many good things happening, so many things, yes, that I had worked on, so many things that I wanted and had improved in my life, there were still angles of my life that I wanted to improve upon. There were things that were going on in regards to my relationships, my marriage, family time, all of these different things that I also knew that I needed, and that's needed. And I have to tell you guys, if you're taking some notes, just remember, boy, I hope that I'm only seeing a few chats up there. I hope that you're still writing these gratitudes or the ahas that are coming, because at that moment I realized that it wasn't just enough in my life. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but it was not enough to just simply sell a lot of real estate, to do more business, to create more companies. And so the reason I bring this up is that make sure that you ensure for yourself the fact that this business, although it is an incredible business, if there's anything that COVID has done, I hope that it has done at least this one thing. It's giving you a moment to take a step back and to reflect on ultimately who you want to become. Because that moment made me realize one thing, and that is that I wanted to simplify my life. Now, anyone, unless you haven't been near us, you recognize that the last several years has been a little chaotic. And as the calm has come over that, with our operations in Utah, of course, and California, and all the different things that we do, and the 9 different companies that are owned and operated, with all of the activity that goes on, the one thing that I have recognized again is that everything we do has a cost. And there are 2 specific things to that cost: the cost of your time and always the economic cost. So as you make decisions in your life and as you move forward, I want you to just simply ask those questions. How will this, or what will this do from the standpoint of cost, regards to money and regards to my time? Because no matter what's going on in our lives, no matter what is happening, there is always a cost of either money or time. You may say, well, wait, it doesn't cost me much to just go play catch with my son. It doesn't cost me much to just simply go, on a drive up the canyon, or a drive with the person I love and my intimate partner. The fact is that no matter what, it still takes time. And even if and then there's a cost of money, whether it's the opportunity cost, whether it's the cost of the car, whether it's the cost of the mitt and the ball that you're throwing and playing with. The fact is that everything has a cost. So as you start to reflect, you start to recognize that, you start to realize that real estate, as good as our market is and as exceptional as it is, there has to be a commitment by each one of us to working on the inside. Because the fact of the matter is that scripts and dialogues, as effective as they are not more effective than the presence, the confidence, and the individual that you have to become are. We can never look, if there's not enough money, if there's not enough deals, it is always a value issue. It's the value that you're bringing out to the marketplace. Remember that. If there's not enough money, it is always a determination and an effect of value. So if there's not enough value in what you're doing, your activities, the things you're doing in regards to prospecting, talking to people, and doing the things you need to do, that is always a cost of value. So look, many of you are earning more than you've ever earned. Some of you want to earn a whole heck of a lot more than you've earned. And some of you maybe even feel like, hey, you've arrived, or that you've achieved some economic, fortune. But the fact of the matter is that there's never going to be a day where you get to let's just say, the privilege or the desire to just simply stop working on yourself. This needs to be a never-ending expectation and commitment in your life, that if you want to have an extraordinary life, it will always come because of the work that you do on the inside. So when Gretchen sat down with me that day and she said, hey, so I'm just curious, are you going to keep basically creating more chaos, or are you going to make a decision to work more on your life? And the journey of the last 4 to 5 years in regards to working not only on myself, working on my marriage, working with my family, working and becoming a better father, a better husband, a better provider, all of these things that we do are because I made a commitment that I was going to simplify my life. So look, here's the key. I want you to simplify. So now here's the question. What in your life, what's going on for you right now that you need to do to simplify? What would happen if you simplified? How much more joy and happiness would be in your life because you simplify? How much more present would you be in the moment of your children or the moment of your intimate partner because you simplified the way in which you're living your life? Don't underestimate the magnitude of simplification. It's what I see and what great agents do. I'm going to get into a few things I want you to try out in regards to simplifying. But look, the agents who have the greatest life and the greatest income, for some reason, have figured out how to simplify. So what is it that you could do to simplify is what I want to move to. But just remember that the majority of your success will become your success because of what you do on the inside. Second to that is let's work on simplifying. I don't want more chaos in your life. I don't want more destruction in your life. I don't want more crazy things in your life. I want you to have such a simple life that is rich in wealth, economic wealth, rich in your relationships, and of course, you have a richness in regards to your health and your well-being. That's the key. That's the flag on the hill that we're going to, plant. And the hope is that you make a commitment to yourself, that you recognize that to have the ultimate happiness that you want, it's going to come from within. It's not going to come because you make more money. Now, we can play the joke of if I earn more money, well, you know what? It's a lot more. If I'm going to be unhappy no matter what, well, it'd be great to be unhappy if I had a little bit of money. You don't have to be unhappy, but you have to simplify. You don't have to be negative. You have every right to be positive. And yet the reality for each one of us is that it still comes back down to a commitment that we make early on in our lives or right this moment, that we make a commitment that we are going to become more. And how we become more, we begin to simplify and we get to focus on the things that are most meaningful, the things that create more adventure, the things that create more joy, the things that create more memories with those that you love and you care for. The fact is that there's no reason. Success is not an exclusive club, and you have no reason not to either achieve, to experience the beauty and the majesty of simplification. So look, let's just talk about 2 or 3 things that we'll have time to do in regards to how you simplify. Number one, I can still remember walking into a boardroom, and I'm not going to pick on who this is, but you won't even know who it is, but I'm just going to say I would go into a boardroom, and as I would walk in, we'd sit down, start having conversations. And there would be conversations with Gretchen and Sam and others in this room. And I can still remember it as if it was yesterday. And I'd be sitting there and there'd be a conversation that would begin to happen about one thing, and that is about drama, the actual point of drama. If you haven't listened to my daily message today, I hope you'll listen to it. But in this meeting, this individual would talk about how they were, hated drama, couldn't stand drama, didn't want drama. And, they would make the claim, I'm the most drama-free person you'll ever meet. Well, look, if you're going to, pontificate at such high levels, that's the one person I would be most concerned with. Well, look, you know what I'm going to tell you. What was so funny, this individual would get out or walk out of the room, and we would all look at each other kind of like with this puzzled look on our face going, am I missing something? Because this guy is the most drama person that I know, the person who creates more drama than anyone I know. And the thing that was so funny is that one of the things in which you can simplify your life is to eliminate the drama. So look, if you want to have a more simple life, make a commitment that today you will not look to be offended. You will not look to find people who have wronged you. You will not look to find the negative. What you will do is you will take a step back and go, you know what? Nothing can mess up this day. And I make a commitment to myself and to the people around me that I will not go into a place of drama. That's what great leaders do. They aren't offended quickly. They easily forgive. They're not committed to, an outcome that has to be done a certain way. They don't get bothered by what anyone has to say. They start to step out of that and they recognize that their ultimate happiness comes from within and that they don't need to create drama to get attention, to be significant, to be important. They don't need to make cuts and digs and sarcasm that takes away vulnerability. That is not what we do when we're leading our lives in an extraordinary way. So for you, again, I would ask, what are you going to do to prevent and to simply have no drama in your life? Because the reality is the majority of the drama that goes on in most people's lives is self-inflicted. It is things that they've either said, they've done, they do, because it's things that create massive amounts of drama. Now, look, remember that one of the key factors in creating drama in people's lives is not doing their job. And you have a job to do when it comes to real estate. You want to see what creates major drama, financial drama? It's not having enough money. It's not talking to enough people. It's not making enough contacts. It's not doing the things that helps you to succeed at the highest level. So remember how important it is that you simplify, you become more, you eliminate the chaos. And that first one I would just challenge you with is you have to make sure you create a drama-free zone in your life. That doesn't mean run from conflict when it needs to be had, but it means this: don't create conflict when it doesn't need to be had. Don't be the fuel to the fire, be the calm to that fire, right? Blanket it, calm it down, and have the maturity to recognize that you don't have to be right, because you can either be right and be unhappy, or you can almost always be right, not right, and can always bring forth a tremendous amount of happiness. Stop having to be right. Stop having to have it be your way every single time. Stop having to have it to where you crush people in regards to your opinion because it's the right one, right? Seek to understand before you seek to be understood. Take the time to recognize that so many of our actions are about the way in which drama happens. Stop being the person who's honking at everybody. Stop being the person who's, elevating everybody's emotional craziness when you walk into a room. Stop complaining. Stop pointing fingers. Stop not taking responsibility. All of these things that I'm talking about, and there's many more that you may even be thinking about, but these are all the things that create tremendous amounts of drama, which then complicate your life and take you away from the person you're supposed to be. You want to earn more money, create less drama. My observation is that the people I have met in my life, the majority of them who really truly worked to create something extraordinary economically, are the least dramatic people I know. Because you can't make riches in the game of real estate if you're going to be the one who's always stirring the pot, yelling at a client, doing things that create massive amounts of drama. Drama at your home front, drama with your children, drama with your spouse or your partner, drama in regards to your health, right? Drama in regards because you don't make calls and the finances are nuts and crazy, things aren't working, because again, that just simply creates more drama. You want to simplify your life? Get rid of the drama. Make a commitment right now that you will not be the person who fuels the fires of drama. And you want to do that? I'm telling you, if you'll do that, great things will happen. Guys, we're almost out of time, but I just want to just mention just a second point to this whole thing in regards to simplifying your life. It is absolutely clear to me that one of the key ways in which you can reduce the drama and create a more simple life is the ability to communicate. Now, look, this business is about our mindset, it is about our skill sets, and it is about our personal disciplines. So, look, you want to create a simpler life, you want to create a better life, you want to reach the top where the views are spectacular. I can simply tell you it is this: the better you are capable of communicating and connecting at a higher level to another individual, it is unquestionable the simpler your life will become. So, who will you become specifically in regards to the way in which you communicate? Now, let's think about that. How do we communicate? Well, we communicate, number one, with the words. These are in particular order, but number one, the words. Now, if you take that great little research paper of UCLA many years ago, they talked about that communication, the percentage, they even believe 7% of communication comes from the words in which we say. The other part of that study talks about the tone of our voice, right? The emotion, the passion, maybe the staleness, the stoic voice, right? All of these different factors in the way in which that voice is used, the tone of that voice. Well, 38% of communication specifically comes down to the tone of our voice. Are you that person who huffs and puffs in regards to disgust and sighs away, is sighing and, is, mocking, or is a cynic, or is doing things that with your tonality are destructive to not only your personal happiness, but to the destruction of others? And the third component of that is the presence in regards to our physiology and our physical presence. So we know that we communicate in that way, and the remaining percentage of that is 55%. So thinking about it, in order of importance, the way we carry ourselves on the inside reflects on what we're doing and who we're being on the outside. Number two is the tone of our voice. And number three is the words that you use. And although the words that we use are important, in simple format, you can look at the words aren't as important as the tone or the or our physical presence. They're not, because I can say to you, I love you, and I can say things like, I love you, and or I could say, ooh, I love you. And each one of those things means a completely different thing based on my tonality or in relationship to the word, in relationship to the words. All the same words, but a completely different tone. Like one of disgust, one of sensuality, and one of just simply a statement, I love you. And each one is different because of the tonality in which we use. And that goes to do with everything we do on a daily basis to communicate in the game of real estate. So just again, while you think about this, who do I have to become? How do I simplify? Well, number one, I'm going to eliminate the drama. The second way you get a more simple life, a more effective life, a more productive life in both real estate and your personal life is you make the decision today to master the ability to communicate. Now, what does that mean? It means you have the capacity to connect, the capacity to ask questions, the capacity to listen and actively listen, engaged in the conversation. It means that your presence is spot on. It means your tonality with every script, dialogue, and word that you say, specifically to this, and that is that you know how to communicate the tone, and then of course you know how to use the words. That's what it means. And how do you become, in closing, guys, how do we become absolutely invaluable to this marketplace? How do we become invaluable to our family? How do we become invaluable to the people that we love? How do we become invaluable as we lead out in helping buyers and sellers and others to a better place in their life? It's simple. We take people to the next level. And if you want to win the game of great leadership, which then turns into great wealth and abundance economically, I can promise you it comes down to the way in which you operate, the way in which you do these things. It is helping people get to the next level. So look, I wouldn't think you'd be on this call if you didn't believe this, but I love the fact of how committed each of you are, that you're here early in the morning. I'm seeing many of my California friends. I'm seeing many of our Utah friends, and it is so great to see your commitment. So just remember, there is nothing about this business that you cannot learn, and there is nothing that you cannot do. So from a place of hope, a place of optimism, a place of possibility, don't underestimate what you're capable of. Don't think there's some exclusive club to communication or exclusiveness to the way in which we create those drama-free zones, or the way in which an individual can simplify their lives. Guys, so much of what needs to happen in our lives is we need to stand in our space and really own it. So much of our life is based on creating a space of certainty and direction, eliminating the chaos. So look, if you're like me, and I have to tell you, I had a great coach say this one time to me, and I'll leave you with this. I explained what I wanted in regards to the relationship of myself, the relationship in this business, the relationship I wanted with Jennifer, my wife, the relationship I wanted with my children, the relationship I wanted with you as agents and friends. And I described this vision of what it looked like and who I believed that I needed to become, that I needed to become more loving, more accepting, less critical, more engaged, simplifying life, get rid of the drama, really hear people, listen to people, speak with boldness on, and understanding my own philosophies. And I described this whole look to this individual, this dear friend of mine. And as he was helping me, he said these words. He went, "Oh, I get it now." I go, "Well, what do you get?" He said, "I get it. You want to be part of the 1%. And as I sat there, I still remember sitting there. And I remember pointing my finger right at him. I said, "Yes, that is what I want. I want to be part of the 1%. Now, look, Jim Rohn has said for years, be part of the 3%, be part of the 5%, meaning that those individuals, the 1, the 3, the 5, whatever, the high percentage of people who have high levels of success economically, levels of success in their relationships, and levels of success in their health, there is no question that they understand clearly that they have to define that, reach for it, and then make a commitment. They will do anything and everything they can to get there. And in the end, I want you to be rich in every angle of your life. I want you to experience more wealth, more joy, more beauty, more serenity, more calm, more peace, more passion, more energy for your life. But it's not enough for me to want that for you. But I can promise you that if you make a commitment, and there will be days that are hard to learn the scripts, the dialogues, there will be moments where you're discouraged, but don't waver. Stay the course. Don't go create chaos so you don't have to do it. Don't go do things that prevent you from becoming who you're capable of becoming. Because I can promise you from the bottom of my heart that I can promise you that as you work towards refinement, as you work towards simplifying, as you work towards becoming more, as you work towards eliminating drama, elevating your communication, and doing all the things you need to do, I can promise you there is a beautiful life that is ahead. Now, if you already have the beautiful life that you want, then I can just say this, it can even get better. Don't ever stop working. Don't ever stop growing, because growth equals happiness. So together, I'm never going to ask you ever to do anything I'm not doing myself. My commitment to you, to this organization, to your lives has never been higher. My commitment to myself, to my family, to becoming more has never been higher. And the older I get, the more committed I get to the facts that I want to become more, because I recognize that that's where the true joy of my life comes. Because I can, in turn, as I grow, I can help others grow. And that is what makes you invaluable, taking people to the next level. So, in closing, have an extraordinary day. Remember, nothing you can't do, nothing you can't learn. And really take out that piece of paper, take out that journal, and just simply ask yourself, really, what do I want? Who do I have to become? How will I simplify? What are my rules for love and acceptance of others? How will I create a less dramatic area in my life? Less, a drama-free zone. How will I protect and elevate my health, my vitality, the relationships that are most important, whether it be a spouse or a partner or a child or a sibling or a mother or a father or a parent of yours or a friend? How do you become more meaningful in that relationship? Who do you have to become? right? Each part of you is there's a requirement in relationships. One has to be something, another has to be another something to even make it work. And last but not least, which often is the reason we come together, but frankly is the easiest thing we'll do together, and that is, go out and earn it, or go out and earn a fortune. Go earn a ton of money. Master the business of real estate. Do everything that makes it possible for you, and recognizing that it is. With that, guys, I'll leave you. Have an extraordinary day. Let's finish up with some affirmations. Just remember, nothing you can't do, nothing you can't achieve in this business. I believe in you deeply, and I've seen some of you come from the depths of despair to extraordinary success. So make it happen. All right, let's do some affirmations.